I so often get asked this question as to, you know, which houses are suited to heat pumps, and you know, it's really hard to say, oh yeah, you know, these houses are and these houses aren't. It really is. It depends. You know, it should be looked at on a case by case basis. But what I've tried to do here is just sort of pull some examples of houses where I think they can work and where I've seen them work well. So obviously they're good with new builds. But having said that, actually, you know, if you are building a passive house, you know, the really well insulated houses now, they don't actually have heat pumps in them, because they're so well insulated that the cost of installing a heat pump is ridiculous compared to the amount of heat that they actually need. So you know, if you're building a sort of standard new build, then heat pumps will, you know, it will be appropriate. Passive house, they tend to look at just simply very small electric radiators now. So, and then if you're looking at existing houses which are, you know, that are going to be retrofitted or have been retrofitted, then it is, you know, air source heat pumps in particular will work well if you've got a significant amount of insulation. So definitely loft insulation, and usually some wall insulation as well, either internal or external, and definitely cavity wall. And then, but it's actually, I think it's really important that houses that they've got good air tightness. And this is something that's overlooked a little bit, because, I mean, mainly because it's so hard making existing houses airtight. But it really, I think, for heat pumps to heat houses well, it's really important to focus on the drafts and stopping the drafts, and just making sure that the heat isn't escaping, because it's at lower temperatures than, you know, with a house heated with oil or gas, and therefore you really do need to make sure that heat doesn't escape. But then, interestingly, houses with thick walls and very solid floors, they can actually be effectively heated with ground source heat pumps in particular. You know, there's one particular company called ISO Energy who really focus on old traditional buildings and using heat pumps to heat them. And it's the thermal mass in those buildings which enables the sort of low grade constant heat which sort of seeps into that structure, and enables them to be heated quite efficiently. And I think I mean, it's a common thing that everyone does when you're heating your houses off oil or gas. You tend to, you know, you program that heat to come on a couple of times a day, and the number of times, you know, I've been told by sort of heating engineers that the best thing is to, you know, leave the heating on all the time and let the whole structure warm up. And I mean, you can never bear to do that when you know you're burning gas and oil constantly. But that is the concept of the heat pump, in that it is on continually, and it heats up the whole building. And if that building has got a lot of thermal mass, or it's you know, airtight, then it can, you know, the temperature will remain in the house, and that is one of the sort of really important things, the big differences between heat pumps and other forms of heating. And then obviously, sort of older houses with modern extensions, again, they can be heated quite effectively, mainly because, you know, if you've taken a large sort of area of the house and enclosed that in a more, you know, in an extension which is sort of much more, you know, have much lower heat loss, then you'll be able to, that can effectively, they can be good for heat pumps for heating them. And then I just said houses with compact forms. So if you've got a very sort of, you know, a long straggly house with loads of different sort of walls and not a very compact form, then again, it's a little bit harder for a heat pump to heat them.